Hey everyone, Linus here. Today we're going to walk through installing Windows 10 on your computer. It might seem daunting, but trust me, it's easier than you think. We'll go step by step, and by the end, you'll be rocking Windows 10 like a pro. Installing a new operating system is a big step in breathing new life into an old PC or setting up a brand new build. Don't worry though, we'll be here to guide you through the whole process. Let's get started. Alright, before we fire up the installation, let's make sure you've got everything you need. First things first, grab yourself a USB drive. Make sure it's at least 8 GB in size because those Windows 10 files can be a bit hefty. Now this USB drive is going to become our bootable installation media, which is just a fancy way of saying it'll be the key to getting Windows 10 onto your computer. Next up, we need to grab the Windows 10 installation files themselves. Head over to the official Microsoft website and look for the Download Windows 10 section. You'll want to download the Windows 10 ISO file. This is basically a disk image that contains all the Windows 10 goodness we're going to install. Once you've got your USB drive and the Windows 10 ISO file ready to go, there's one more crucial thing to do: back up your data. We'll cover that in the next section, so stay tuned. Before we dive into the installation, let's make sure your computer can handle the awesomeness of Windows 10. Don't worry, it's not as intimidating as it sounds. We just need to check a few things. First up, your processor. Windows 10 needs at least a 1 GHz processor or faster. Most modern computers have no problem with this, but it's always good to check. Next, let's talk RAM. You'll need at least 2 GB of RAM for the 64-bit version of Windows 10 or 1 GB for the 32-bit version. RAM is like your computer's short-term memory, and more RAM means smoother multitasking. For hard drive space, you'll need at least 32 GB of free space. That's where Windows 10 will set up shop and where you'll store all your files. Lastly, make sure your graphics card is compatible with DirectX 9 or later with a WDDM 1.0 driver. This is important for displaying all the fancy graphics and visuals that Windows 10 has to offer. If your computer meets these requirements, you're good to go. Alright folks, this is the most important part of the entire process: backing up your data. We're about to install a new operating system, which means everything on your computer's hard drive will be wiped clean. That's right, all your precious photos, documents, music, videos, gone. Unless of course you back them up. There are a few ways to back up your data. You can copy everything to an external hard drive, upload it to a cloud storage service like Google Drive or Dropbox, or even burn it all to DVDs if you're feeling old school. Whatever method you choose, just make sure you have a copy of everything important before proceeding. Trust me, I've seen countless horror stories of people losing everything because they skipped this step. Don't be that person. Back up your data, and let's move on to the fun part: installing Windows 10. Section 5. Making your Windows 10 USB drive. Alright, it's time to turn that ordinary USB drive into a bootable Windows 10 installation machine. Remember that USB drive we talked about earlier? The one we're going to use to install Windows 10? Well, it's time to work some magic on it. We're going to use a handy tool called Windows Media Creation Tool, which you can download from the same Microsoft website where you got your Windows 10 ISO file. Once you've downloaded and launched the tool, it'll walk you through the process step by step. You'll need to select the correct Windows 10 edition, language and architecture, 32-bit or 64-bit, for your system. Then, choose the USB flash drive option and select your USB drive from the list. The tool will format the drive and copy all the necessary installation files onto it. This process might take a while depending on your internet speed and the speed of your USB drive. But don't worry, just grab a snack, sit back and let the magic happen. Once it's done, you'll have a bootable Windows 10 USB drive ready to go. Booting from your USB drive. Tell your computer to boot from the USB drive. Normally it boots from the hard drive. Access the BIOS or UEFI settings. Press a specific key during startup like F2, F12, delete, or ESC. Look for boot order and move the USB drive to the top. Save changes, exit, and restart to boot from the USB drive. Section 7. Windows 10 setup begins. Alright, if everything went according to plan, you should now see the Windows 10 setup screen. This means we've successfully booted from our USB drive, and we're ready to install Windows 10. The first few screens of the setup process are pretty straightforward. You'll be asked to select your language, time and currency format, and keyboard layout. Just choose the options that are appropriate for your region and preferences. Once you've gone through these initial settings, you'll be taken to the Install Now screen. Click on the Install Now button to proceed with the installation process. Now, the real fun begins. Get ready to make some important decisions about your Windows 10 installation. Section 8. Choosing your installation type. Now we're getting to the heart of the Windows 10 installation process. You'll be presented with a choice: Upgrade or Custom Install Windows Only, Advanced. The Upgrade option is for those who already have a previous version of Windows installed and want to upgrade to Windows 10 while keeping their files and settings intact. However, if you're starting fresh or want a clean installation, the Custom option is the way to go. This option gives you more control over the installation process, allowing you to format your hard drive and start with a clean slate. For the purpose of this guide, we'll be going with the custom installation type. This ensures a fresh start and helps avoid any potential compatibility issues that might arise from an upgrade. Section 9. Hard drive setup and installation. Get ready because this is where things get a bit technical. The custom installation type gives you complete control over your hard drive partitioning. Partitioning is like dividing your hard drive into separate sections, kind of like creating different rooms in your house. You can create separate partitions for your operating system, your files, and your backups. If you're installing Windows 10 on a brand new hard drive, you'll need to create a partition first. The Windows 10 installer will guide you through this process. Just select the unallocated space on your hard drive and click on New to create a new partition. You can adjust the size of the partition as needed. Once you've created a partition, select it and click on Next to begin the installation process. Windows 10 will now start copying files from the USB drive to your hard drive. This process might take a while depending on the speed of your hard drive and USB drive. During this time, your computer might restart several times. This is perfectly normal, so don't panic. Section 10. Welcome to your new Windows 10. Congratulations, you've made it. The Windows 10 installation process is complete, and you should now be greeted by the welcome screen of your brand new operating system. Take a moment to bask in the glory of your accomplishment. You've successfully installed Windows 10 on your computer. Now, it's time to personalize your Windows 10 experience. You'll be guided through a series of setup screens where you can choose your region, language, keyboard layout, and network settings. You'll also be asked to create a user account and set a password. Once you've gone through these initial setup steps, you'll be taken to the Windows 10 desktop. Welcome to your new digital home. Section 11. Drivers and updates. Keep it running smooth. Now that you've got Windows 10 up and running, there are a couple of things you need to do to make sure everything is running smoothly. First up, drivers. Drivers are like little pieces of software that tell Windows 10 how to communicate with your computer's hardware, like your graphics card, sound card, and network adapter. Windows 10 is pretty good at automatically installing drivers for common hardware, but it's always a good idea to check for the latest drivers from the manufacturer's website. This will ensure that your hardware is running at its best and that you have access to all the latest features and performance improvements. Once you've installed all the necessary drivers, it's time to check for updates. Windows 10 is constantly being updated with new features, security patches, and bug fixes. It's important to keep your system up to date to ensure that you have the best possible experience and that your computer is protected from the latest threats. Section 12. Make Windows 10 your own. Now that you've got everything up and running, it's time for the fun part: customizing. Windows 10 to your liking. Windows 10 is highly customizable, allowing you to personalize almost every aspect of the operating system to suit your needs and preferences. You can change your desktop background, themes, colors, sounds, and even the start menu layout. You can also install new apps and programs from the Microsoft Store or from the web. Don't be afraid to experiment with different settings and options until you find what works best for you. After all, it's your computer and you should make it your own. You did it! Windows 10 installation complete. That's it! You've successfully installed Windows 10 on your computer. Explore everything this powerful operating system has to offer. From its sleek interface to its wide range of features, Windows 10 is designed to empower you. Whether you're a student, a professional, or a casual user, Windows 10 has something for everyone. Thanks for following along. If you found this guide helpful, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe for more tech content.